Welcome to this overview of the highly anticipated Atlas MP36-C in Metra paint. These models have just been released, with the first few models arriving at Lombard Hobbies on Thursday, July 17th, 2024. The packaging on this model is a thicker Atlas 100 years box and has the product number with loco information on both ends. In this case, it's item number 10004-159, Atlas Master Series MP36 in Metra paint with DCC and sound. On one side of the box, we have a brief description of what's included, a short section of information about the prototype, and information about the factory-equipped ESU decoder. And on the other side is some information about the warranty and not much else. Now let's get into the box and see what's inside. The box is a pull-apart style box with a much thicker outside than previous Atlas models I've purchased. Makes it a little difficult to get out, but nothing too bad. Once inside, we have the normal variety of paperwork, including the Atlas warranty card, ESU LokSound Quick Start Guide, exploded parts diagram for the shell and chassis, and finally, the locomotive. The locomotive is packed in the industry standard clamshell with a sleeve. When removing the sleeve, watch out for a bag of extra details. These include various hoses and fine scale chain. The loco itself is wrapped in a fine plastic and has a small piece of foam at the rear to prevent the handrails from getting damaged. Now let's take a closer look at the locomotive and see what it has to offer. First, let's take a look at the coupler height. Both front and rear of the locomotive are well within the NMRA standards, but the rear is maybe a millimeter lower than the height gauge. Not a big deal at all though. The couplers themselves are all metal and have a self-centering spring as demonstrated here. Now onto the side of the locomotive. The paint lines seem to be crisp around most of the model. The finer paint details are legible, or fairly close representation of the real thing. And all throughout the model there are separately applied grab irons, pipes, side mirrors, and tons of other details. One thing to note on my model, the rear steps are slightly bent inward compared to the prototype. On the Metra MP36s, these steps are closer to a stairwell, with the steps getting closer to the center of the locomotive as they go up, and they also contain yellow and white safety stripes, while the Atlas model is a standard vertical ladder with white safety stripes only. The front of the locomotive is also quite impressive, but differs slightly from the prototype. As seen here, the coupler cut lever on the prototype is attached straight across and from above, while the Atlas rendition comes in at the bottom from an angle. The MU hookups and HEP layout is slightly different on the model as well, with two orange boxes appearing below the MU and HEP covers that are not found on the real unit. Otherwise, the printing on these HEP and MU covers is fantastic, both the Loco MU and car light text being legible when under magnification or zoomed in on. 3 air hoses can be found on each side of the coupler, which is a nice detail to see. The orange stripe around the front of my model is a bit rough on the seam line where the nose curves around to the side, but from a distance it isn't too noticeable. The bottom of the orange stripe across the nose has a bit of overspray where it should be a clean line on the prototype. The Metra gyra light is included on the model, but the gasket around the light is not modeled, resulting in a smooth nose versus the slight height difference you see on the real loco. Once again, there's plenty of separately applied details on top with the horn, windshield wipers, and side mirrors. The rear of the locomotive is quite detailed as well, with numerous grab irons and once again the same high level of detail when it comes to the printing on the MU cover lids. Printing of the number itself looks good, and overall I'm quite happy with it. The roof is depicted in a shiny silver color, which anyone from the Chicago area knows doesn't stay clean for very long. All throughout the roof, the various fan grills look great, and they seem to be made to a pretty high standard. The finish looks good for being clean metal grills, and scattered throughout the roof is various panels with lift rings, which all seem to be in good condition and not damaged in transit. Finally, let's take a look at the underframe. All throughout the model, there's numerous additional pipes, making a very impressive sight if you decide to flip your locomotive upside down. One thing I noticed on my model was a little bit of excess oil on the front truck. There wasn't any leakage into the packing like I've seen with other models though. Photos and information for this next section are courtesy of Central Jersey Railfan. The inside of this model has not changed much from when these were produced by Trueline years ago. The biggest update has been the electronics. The Loco now comes equipped with a 13x18 sugar cube with a 28mm enclosure located near the front. It's been fitted with a 21-pin motherboard fitted with JST plugs for lights and speakers. The gyra light and number board lights are tied to the same light function out of the box, which means you can't utilize the ESU gyra light effect within their decoders. There are 3 solder pads for adding a power pack into the locomotive to keep it running over dirty track, and as many have discovered, the locomotive out of the box comes with white LEDs instead of the golden white LEDs advertised on the box. This isn't a super difficult fix for most modelers, but definitely disappointing coming from a brand new model. Now let's go through the ESU LokSound functions on this locomotive. With no sound on, the locomotive running noise is about average for modern units. It's definitely much quieter than some of the budget models we see today, but not silent. While running in this locomotive, there was a slight squeak for 10 or so minutes while running in the forward direction. This eventually disappeared, but it'll occasionally come back. If this happens to anyone else, please let me know in the comments down below. Now let's see how the locomotive does in a slow speed test. At speed step 1, there might be the slightest stutter, but by speed step 3 it is completely smoothed out. In reverse, at speed step 1, it's perfectly smooth with no issues at all. When testing the locomotive with the AccuTrack 2 speedometer, speed step 1 was equivalent to 0.9 miles per hour. Outside of this intermittent squeaking issue, this is an amazing mechanism. Now that you've seen what this locomotive has to offer, it's time to get it out onto the main line and see what it can do. One big issue right now is these locomotives do not have any appropriate rolling stock to run with them. Atlas and Rapido will both be releasing Metra cars this year, but until then, I think I have an idea what we could run. Well, that was an interesting push-pull set, but not exactly what I had in mind. Let's try again. A little better, but not exactly what I want yet. How about we see how powerful this locomotive is first? So it seems like 10 or so coaches on level track will be the limit for this locomotive. We've got one more idea for a consist that might actually be a little bit more prototypical. On the morning of November 3rd, 2011, two trains collided along the Milwaukee District West Metro line at Spalding Junction. What resulted was Metra providing an MP36 that was located west of the wreckage, to move the non-derailed equipment out of the way for the morning rush hour. The Atlas HO scale Metra MP36 is an interesting locomotive. It has a few flaws, making it a bit different from the prototype, but consistently delivers loads of details throughout the rest of the model. When in notch 1 and 2, the unit speaker makes an unpleasant high-pitched rattle, but the rest of the sound set is quite enjoyable to listen to. If this model would have been shipped with the golden white LEDs as advertised, this model would have been an amazing product for the price. With an MSRP of $340 and a retail price of $240 and up, it isn't a budget model, but it isn't a top-of-the-line rivet counter either. For the price, it's an okay value. Hopefully the model train community and Atlas can work through some of these issues with the model to release better future versions of it. Between the LEDs and the gyra lights, these are must-change things for any Metra modeler. Thank you for watching this overview of the Atlas HO scale MP36 in Metra paint. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and if you really enjoyed, become a channel member today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.